So when you're in the world of manufacturing, you know that there's two of the most common type of files, and that is maybe an STL file. Now an STL is going to be volumetric. It's going to be made of triangles, and it's going to be synonymous with any kind of additive manufacturing like 3D printing. But then you're going to have a step file, which is going to be synonymous with topology and subtractive manufacturing. So in this video, we're going to be showing how Fusion helps us bridge the gap between additive and subtractive style models. So if you get the wrong model, hopefully you can convert it over. We're going to show you instances that Fusion is successful at this, and instances where it's going to take a little bit more work, but we're going to show you how to get that done. So here's a mesh file. It came from an STL. It could be an object file or any other kind of mesh file. With one click, we're able to convert this from a mesh into a standard prismatic model that you would use in any kind of CAD work. How are we able to do that so quickly? When can you convert a mesh, and when can you really not convert a mesh, but what are your other options? Well, that's what we're going to cover in this video. So let's go ahead and get a fresh start here. Don't save. So let's open up a new design. I like using the hybrid design because that kind of like classic Fusion. I can just do whatever I want to do. The first thing I want to do is insert in a mesh. You always want to insert in the mesh. You don't want to just put it in like a standard 3D model. Now we have one that came from a 3D model, an STL, and then we have one where we ran a plane ear noise reduction on a 3D scanned mesh. We're going to import both of these in. So this one, we're going to bring them in millimeter, and then we're going to go back up and say we're going to insert in this next one that has this plane ear noise reduction on it, and say okay. All right. Let's turn off our display component colors. And what we want to make sure we do is have this on, which is display mesh face groups, so you can see the multicolors. So right now, let's hide the one we got from our mesh. Notice that he's off angle. One quick way that you can reorient this and place him back at the datum, because sometimes these are modeled in assemblies, what you can do is go to your mesh tools. Go to direct edit. This isn't just for selecting, and pulling and stretching with all of these expand, grow, invert, and all of that. This also just lets you select on vertices. So if I went to a plane and said, well, I need 3 points to establish a plane because this guy's way off, I can do that. And now that plane is sitting perfectly on that surface. Now when I show my origin, notice that my mesh selection palette is still open. Now it shows that I have an angle of 23.1, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to select that and then close it. And then I'm going to say I want to move this model like this. I'm going to just start rotating him around. And then right here, I'm going to say negative, paste. Now he is properly rotated. We're going to hide this. But I want to be able to put that point right at the top corner here. Well, notice I still got this enabled here. So now I can say, grab that model. That's the one I want to use. I want to go point to point, and I want this top hypothetical point selected. Then I'm going to hide my model, and then I'm going to say I want it right here. Show my model. There we go. Now I can finish that. Let's see, and our other model, it's pretty close to the same location there, just a different corner. Now we're going to go about converting this. So keep in mind what's actually happening here is first we have to convert all of these major surfaces into actual surfaces, but not necessarily, but that's how it works. And then we stitch all these surfaces together. The way we do that is in the mesh workspace, we're going to select generate face groups, select our model, and then we're going to say we want an accuracy, maybe we're going to start off with 3,000 so it moves pretty quick. Okay, it says it generated the face groups, but I can't really see them. So I'm going to go to Inspect and turn this on. There we go. Now we can see our colors. So everything here looks pretty good. We're going to say OK. Each of these colors is now selectable. So if I want to select any of these, then I can do that. But what we're looking to do is go to Modify, Convert, Select. We want Parametric and Prismatic. If we did Faceted, that's basically kind of what we got already. Or we could go to Organic, but that's more like sculpting T-spline area there. So we hit OK. Now this thing looks fantastic. Came out really good. I'm starting to see that this didn't convert over great, because that should be one chamfer on there. And then over here, this didn't work out great. It's good, pretty good, maybe good enough, but if you start seeing that, we want to go back to our face groups, edit, and just tighten up that tolerance. Maybe you can do 1,000ths. Maybe you have to do an even higher tolerance or lower tolerance. Higher tolerance, but lower number. It's like we're playing golf. So now, notice it fixed that chamfer and also fixed that radius. And all of them look pretty good. So that one has successfully been converted. So yeah, we can go in here and grab some of these surfaces and offset them just like we could any other prismatic 3D model. What about this other model? The one that came from scan data. Well, let's dig into this. We'd want to do the same thing, right? At least give it a shot. So we selected that. We got our accuracy down to 3,000ths. Go ahead and hit Preview. And this might take a couple of minutes for this to calculate. So the problem here is that when you bring in, import in a scan that came from a mesh, it never came from a perfect world like CAD. It came from an imperfect world like the one we live in. And so all of these surfaces have highs and lows, peaks and valleys. And so when you run a planar noise reduction, maybe I could have ran a couple of more iterations, but even if I did, it still would never handle all the radiuses and these tapered holes and even the areas that didn't scan very well. So really, to be able to process this model, we would need to actually model it up from this data. And the best way to do that would be, and this is just a suggestion, you could go back into your direct edit, select, make a work plane here, like this three-pointed plane. That way, you know, it's fairly accurate. Now, you probably already have done this, and it's probably pretty close to your datum, but, you know, this is just in case you've got some, you know, different angles, different surfaces on different angles. This will let you capture those a little more accurately. I can actually say Finish on that, and then I can say I want to create a mesh section. So, from this mesh, we want to use a plane that we made, and then we might want to offset him down. We're not necessarily using that plane, but just as a reference. So we're going to bring him down close to the bottom of those chamfers. Select OK. Now we can open up and edit our sketch. Hide our 3D model. From here, we'd want to go to Create, Fit Curves to Mesh, grab our circle, and then we can pretty quickly go through with a pretty high tolerance here and get all of our circles modeled. But keep in mind, all of these, they're actually tapered, so we'd have to figure out that taper. Now, for the outside profile, we could grab Line, and it lets us snap on to where it thinks it's straight. And then you can kind of walk down. On this, these radiuses aren't going to be perfect, so you couldn't just transition from line to line and then radius. Notice I can say I want these tangent, you know. See, it's never going to be just right. What might be better is just saying I want to do a closed spline just for demonstration's sake. And just select it and say OK. Now when we close that, we can go back to our solid menu, and then we can start extruding our new base here. Not too bad. You could have probably made, you know, more planes and extruded that down to that plane and get it as accurate as you can. But really, at that point, you probably should be picking up some calipers, you know. That is how you can convert it. Now we're going to dig into how you salvage a bad model that somebody sent you. Maybe you don't have customers like this, but I do, and every once in a while I get a terrible converted file. The more and more individuals that are getting involved in CAD that don't understand the difference between a mesh file and a step file. And so you end up getting models like this. Maybe they're coming out of, what is that Google thing, SketchUp or something like that, where you just get horrible 3D models, but that's what they're using. So you could keep pushing it back on them, or you could just convert it back to a 3D model. So what's happened here is, notice that it's showing as a 3D model, because it is. It's just a bunch of planes. It's a mesh that just got converted into a bunch of planes. So what would we do to save this real quickly? Well, you'd bring it into Fusion. In this case, you would have to upload it and treat it like a 3D model. But after that, you'd want to select it and just say, I want to tessellate this. You'd probably want to do a high tessellation and just say OK. Look at the face groups that it generated. Pretty wild. We're going to redo all the face groups. So we're going to kind of tone that down. And we're going to say accuracy. Let's do it 0.5 thousandths, because I don't know what's happened in all this business here. You might even start lower. So right here, yeah, it looks like everything is actually a surface. We're going to say OK on that. And then we're simply going to go to Modify, Convert, here, Prismatic, Parametric, and now we're back to a 3D model from something that was, terrible geometry. Now it's something that, we just added a radius to and it came out pretty good. So, hope this video helped you understand the difference between, step files, mesh files that came from CAD files like you can get on, download from Thingiverse or something like that. And also meshes that you get from scan data and how you can process those. If you got any questions, drop them down in the comments. I check all those comments because I don't get a lot of comments. So I'm definitely going to check it, and I'll try to get back to you. So anyway, take it easy. Happy modeling. I don't know. You probably haven't even made it this far in the video.